Lou Scott, and this is the Geppetto Room, where you don't have to be creative to be creative. You just have to be you. Because here we go over technologies, we go over methodologies to help you make transformative decisions. Decisions that will make it easier for you to live, work, and play in our state. Very important. Transformative decision. Today, we have a special guest. It's Arwen Turner. She's the executive director of Come Alive Outside. Now, whether you know this organization, but it's a truly transformative organization. It's an organization that tries to contribute so much, delivers so much to Rutland community and to other places. It delivers the ability to go outside, to enjoy outside, to have fun outside, to enjoy the health, not only the physical health, but the mental health. So we're going to see a film beginning, and then we're going to talk about, and you're going to be amazed at what the contributions this organization is doing for Rutland. We're going to do a little film. So before we do the film, what I want to do is introduce you to Arwen Turner right now. I know we all have bad hair days, but you're an exception. You're really an exception. But I know who you are. You're the mascot for Come Alive Outside, aren't you? Right? Will you do me a favor? With all due respect, you can stay here. You can stay in on like that. You can advise Turner. We don't understand you too well, but would you do me a favor right now and call Arwen to the screen? Will you call her? Give her a call, come over so she can come. Hi, Arwen.
Hello, Lou. Hello,
I knew
Bigfoot.
he wasn't. I'm glad you brought your mascot. He's very talkative.
He is.
I know you understand him, so forth. Right. What we're going to do, Arwen, is first we're going to see the 1 minute film, okay? And give us an overall background of what you are. And then I'll go into some questions in your presentation and so forth. And if you want to communicate with your mascot, you can. If you want to say something, as long as you can interpret it.
Okay.
Okay? Okay.
A lot of outdoor things I didn't think were for me, especially in the snow. But Come Alive Outside made me feel invited and welcome to try new things. I love snowshoeing now.
I've always been very active, and then I injured my back. I had surgery and used Come Alive Outside's Winter Wellness Passport to keep me motivated and moving while recovering. Now I'm back running marathons.
I was using my wheelchair most of the time to get around. And then I joined Park RX a mile a day. And now I use hiking poles to help walk, and I even led a Park RX hike for other people.
I had so much fun at Harry Potter. I loved making the one with my dad, and I also liked making that cool potion. It was very fun.
It seems like everywhere you look in our community, there's Come Alive Outside doing something fun outdoors. What I love about Come Alive Outside is that the programs meet people where they're at and celebrate all the different ways that people embrace wellness.
Now, that was an interesting film, wasn't it? It was an interesting film. It gave us an overview. But before we get involved in Come Alive Outside, answer me one question. Why the mascot is the Bigfoot? What is the connection?
Yeah, well, it was kind of a surprise that Bigfoot chose to be our mascot. We hadn't planned this, but our friends at Partners for Prevention had a Bigfoot costume, and one day they asked us if we wanted to use it in some promotions. And we thought about it, and we thought, Bigfoot shares a lot of the values that we have at Come Alive Outside.
Like what?
Like, Bigfoot leaves no trace. He's really good about being environmental.
Environmental.
Bigfoot spends a lot of time outside.
He leaves 1 foot.
Yes,
usually.
1
Okay.
foot, but he leaves a minimal trace.
Okay.
Yes. Bigfoot also spends a lot of time being active outdoors, and that's a huge value of Come Alive Outside. So we know that he's out there walking a mile a day at least. Another value that Bigfoot shares is he likes to encourage the joy of outdoors. Bigfoot's fun and silly, and he's all about making us laugh, and that's something that we really value at Come Alive Outside, is not taking life too seriously, finding our joy, and that's one of the main connections to the outdoors.
One of the advantages of what you do to get people outside, it's fun. It's
fun.
Camaraderie, it's togetherness, it's gathering. Okay, and that's the whole essence. And that probably is provokes people to do it, to participate and so forth. Okay, so any other values?
Yeah, I think the last value that really is something that's shared with Bigfoot is that Bigfoot likes to encourage his friends to get outdoors. And one of the things, since we've noticed having Bigfoot in our family, is that we have more people who want to show up and play with us and Bigfoot outside. And so that's important. You know, if you want to get outside, invite a friend. It's safer and more fun.
And if you don't have a friend, you have Bigfoot.
You have
Is that right,
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot? Yeah. You have fun. Okay. So you have friends?
Bigfoot has lots of friends. I think Bigfoot has around 35,000 friends right now.
35,000, which you're referring to as participants in the program right now.
Yeah, so Come Alive Outside in 2022, we reached 35,000 people. That's not all different people. Okay. Some of that is, you know, someone coming back and maybe doing programs more than once. But that's a lot of friends for Bigfoot to have, and it's been really great to see how many people in our community are coming out enjoying the outdoors with us.
I'm going to ask you more about the people, but let me ask you just a little thing before. How did this all start? Very briefly, I know it's a big. How did Come Alive Outside start?
Yeah, so Come Alive Outside started with a man named Jim Palouche who read a book called The Last Child in the Woods, and he was so motivated by the story and the realization that there's something called nature deficit disorder that he wanted to do something about it. So
nature deficit disorder?
Nature deficit disorder. So by spending less time outdoors, in the last 30 years, kids don't play as much outside. We have a lot more sedentary behavior. We're connected to screens. That's having a lot of negative impact on our mental health and our physical health, and that's called nature deficit disorder. So this man, who's a business consultant for landscapers, read this book and was so inspired that he created the Come Alive Outside initiative, and it, over a few years, over 10 years, it developed into a nonprofit, and it's in Rutland now.
And there's a few other places we'll talk about. Now, just a little briefly about yourself. You're the executive director. Tell me a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I am originally from Northern California. I grew up in a really rural area where when I was 7 years old, I had a journal and I had a Swiss Army knife and I would be out there playing. And then as I got older, I disconnected from nature and I started feeling a lot of the mental health negative impacts on my own life from that and physical health. And so it took me a long time to come back and find that own connection with nature. And once I did, I started to feel better. I started to be happier. And that led to me wanting to have a career in that.
Right. How was she as a boss, Bigfoot? Good boss? Good employer? Good. I know the film showed us an overview, but if I was to ask you, what's the whole purpose? What's the mission of the, not a mission statement that hang a back wall, but what do you contribute just basically to the community?
Yeah, Come Alive Outside connects communities to nature for health, wellness, and joy. As simple as that.
Simple as that. And then, but fun and joy and going to nature is not only good for the health and physical and mental health, it's also good for the idea of coming together, having fun, camaraderie, community.
Yeah, and I think when you think about health and happiness, it's difficult to have those things unless you're part of a community. Isolation is something that a lot of us don't feel happy or healthy when we're isolated. And so by looking at Come Alive Outside and having that collaboration, that community, the fun aspect of it, we're really bringing together a community for joy, and then those health and wellness aspects are naturally happening because of that.
So it's a contribution actually to deterring depression,
Yeah.
mental health and so forth. That absolutely. Okay, so that's essentially that's what you're contributing, that's what you're delivering and so forth. And you're delivering it to all peoples, right?
All people,
I
all
read that
ages.
in your area. What does that mean, all peoples?
Yeah, so we prioritize populations that are underserved outdoors. So when we talk about people being underserved outdoors, we're talking about the same populations that face high health inequities. Lower income folks, older Vermonters, BIPOC, LGBTQ+, people with disabilities, people with chronic mental and physical health issues. And so Come Alive Outside is really about inviting everyone into our programs and helping them connect with nature in their own way.
Those people have an outdoor deficit? Is that really?
I mean, we all have some sort of nature deficit disorder.
I would get enough time to do it.
Yeah, but I would say those specific populations are underserved. They haven't had the opportunities or the privileges or maybe the awareness or knowledge or connection to be able to experience outdoor recreation as much as some other populations.
You agree with that? What's that? I didn't hear you. Oh, good. Okay, good. Okay, I know what I find so transformative is the programs that you have. Tell me about the program. You don't have to be in any particular order. You have Mile a Day, you have Passport, you have your natural prescription, nature prescription, other program. Tell me about the program.
Yeah, so we have our 3 basic programs that you just talked about: Nature RX, Mile a Day, and Passports. And these programs happen throughout the year. They're for different populations. Passports are for adults and kids, and they're all about having 35 plus activities that connect you to nature and green spaces and community events in your local community. You get prizes for doing activities.
You said 35?
35
Was
different
there 35 different things that
Yeah,
these people
so
do?
some of them might be go to the farmer's market and try a new food. And then you'll also get a $5 token just for going and doing the passport activity so you can try
Do you
something.
do this as a group,
So
the
they're,
Passport, or individually?
they're individual. We find with the kids' passports that families tend to do them as
Yeah.
a group. And then the adult passports, which are relatively new, we're finding that people are meeting up to do the activities together. So it might not have been intended to be done as a group, but it's fun to do as a group. So people are using it as, hey, do you want to meet up this weekend and use our passports and go check out Georgetti Park?
So you're in constant communication with these people?
We are. So we have a Facebook group. We send out weekly emails, and then we
Tell them what's going on.
tell them what's going on, highlighting different activities.
And then you measure that your success, because I see that, without measurement, you don't have success, but you have success. You have actually people participating and enjoying what they're doing. I saw the statistics.
Yeah, and it's important for us to measure the impact that we're having because that's how we get funded as a nonprofit. So we see that folks that are in our programs overall are experiencing an increase in physical activity, experiencing an increase in time outdoors, and an increase in mental well-being.
And mental well-being, yeah. The 35 things that they do, is it, I can't imagine it. That many, do you add to that? Do you delete from that? How do you do
They're
that?
always changing, and because of the nature of Come Alive Outside, everything that we do is in collaboration, and it's important that we are meeting, we're bringing the programs to these different populations. We actually have a committee every time we do a passport of folks who represent and work with priority populations, and they recommend different activities. So we're all,
Nice organization.
yeah, so we're keeping it fresh, we're keeping it new.
Do you do it every week?
The
Whatever,
passports.
you have a program going every week, all
So-
24?
We do have a program happening every month. We're working on having a program every week, and we just are starting a new initiative called Outdoors for All. So we will have programming every week starting in January. But right now we have programs.
Outdoors for
season-
all, you got more people than your people you're including?
Yeah, well, we want to continue growing and as many times as people can connect with our programs and hang out with Bigfoot and try something, because not everyone wants to do the same outdoor activity. Mile a Day might be a great program for some folks, but not everyone wants or can walk a mile a day. So maybe they want to do a Nature RX program, or maybe they want to come to one of our fun creative outreach programs like our Jedi events.
Tell me now an event. Now, you have 3 or 4 programs. One is a costume event.
Yeah, so we started having some more pop culture themed events last year, and this has been something that Bigfoot has been a big part of. So last year we had
Does
our
he admire
Jedi
the
trail.
costumes that they show up, and he shows up with them?
He shows up and he hangs out with the Star Wars characters. We've had him
Do
hang
they
out
give
at
you a
Wookiee
saber?
Pie.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah, so we have Star Wars themed events in May. We have a Harry Potter themed event in the summer. And then actually in February, we're going to have a scavenger hunt where you can chase Bigfoot around Rutland. And we're even going to have a Bigfoot scat
chase him
identifying
around
station.
Rutland?
Yeah, you can. The whole thing
Where's
is
he
about
gonna be
finding
hiding?
Rutland. He's going to be hiding, and there will be clues.
They have to find him. They want
Different
who he find.
businesses.
Does he eat them? What happens when they found?
He's going to have a great time with them, like
So
he
you're gonna
always
have a
does.
scavenger hunt trying to find Bigfoot downtown. That's a great idea.
And so
a
that's in
transformative
February
idea.
during
And
Winterfest.
it's going to be daytime. So most of the time you see on television looking for big as night. Daytime. That's a very funny
Yeah,
idea.
so and everyone's invited, all
When is
ages.
this?
This will be in February during Winterfest. And if you want information on that, you can go to the Winterfest information on the Rec Center page, which I'm sure we can show a link to on the screen. But yeah, that's one of the big activities. And there's a lot of partners involved. The library, Partners for Prevention, local businesses.
I noticed that you have a lot of endorsements, one of the biggest ones from the hospital. You have a lot of support from that. How do you organize, augment the support? How do you create relationships with the support? Do they have needs? Do they come up with ideas?
Yeah, so the hospital's actually been our partner since we came here in Rutland in 2016. And sort of like our passports, but on a larger level, every single year we meet with the hospital, we talk about what we've done, we share our impact with them, and then we look at the community needs assessment, and we decide what our programs are going to look like that next year, where are the gaps, and they do give us a lot of ideas, they give us a lot of support, and they really embrace the creativity that we have, doing weird things like having a Bigfoot be our mascot, or just different ways to engage people in the outdoors, because we're seeing that it's working in Rutland. We're getting so many people outside of all ages and all backgrounds, and they're really enjoying it.
But the enjoyment element is something you bring to it. I mean, you're living in a state that has 80% woods. You're always going to take a hike, but your hikes are involving their companion doing. Now, when you go on these special events, is there somebody representing Come Alive outside with them, with people?
Yeah, so we typically it's more than one organization. It's rare that Come Alive Outside would just be by itself. So we work a lot with Partners for Prevention. Our staff will always be there, at least be one of us there if you go to a Come Alive Outside event. But we rarely only have one organization. It's usually 4 or 5 organizations at least that are coming together and sharing out information and sharing in the fun. When we do the Jedi event, the 501st, which is a group of people that dress up like Star Wars characters, they come out and they help out. We usually have local businesses who sponsor, and they'll do themed activities. It's just all about bringing people together and valuing
It's so
them.
creative, and it's so transformative. One thing I want to ask you too, on this nature prescription RX, that you have it's something that you have underwritten by medical. You had somebody investigate it and make sure that it was correct. I read that in your...
Yeah, so we actually worked with UVM in the beginning of last year, and they compared our Nature RX program, it was called Park RX at the time, to the best practices around the country in different Park RX programs. And one of the things that evolved from that is we changed the name to Nature RX because we don't think that you need to be able to access a park to connect with nature. And so that was a small change we made in the name of it, but we also changed some things about how we market it, how we connect with people, just based on learnings from around the country.
So what you're doing with nature, you have authority, or you have testing or research, whatever it is the case, to say that what you're doing has some real benefits. It's just not pie in the sky, it has benefits. You're having fun, but you're not laughing at the results. The results are very serious.
Oh yeah, I mean, we use evidence-based studies, peer reports. There's a lot of data in what we do, and you can see our data if you go into things like the annual report, the website. It tends to be that data doesn't, get a 5-year-old running in the woods where fun might, but the data is all there. We know that if you spend more time outside, that you decrease stress and anxiety. We know it helps people become more physically active. We know that it even boosts immunity. All these things are so important, and there's studies done on them. What we're doing at Come Alive Outside is just making that accessible and making people want to try it. We all know it's good for us to spend time outside and be active, but we might not feel included. We might not feel interested in that, and that's where Come Alive Outside comes in, is we're working with the community and trying to find fun ways
You're making
to get people.
entertainment. You're making something to do, actually. It's just so much fun. You enrich it. You enrich it, walking in the woods, whatever the case might be. Is there anything else about the programs?
I just think for the programs, we have a lot going on throughout the year, and I think if anyone's interested in them specifically, you can go on our website. We also work with Cedar, and we have our Mile a Day booklets there and our passports. We have them physically there. So if anyone is interested in picking up hard copies of our programs, if they drop into Cedar in January, they'll be there.
About Cedar. That's the synergy between the Chamber of Commerce and the...
Oh, Cedar?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Chamber of Commerce Economic, I do not know what all those letters are.
Economic
Yeah.
development
Yeah.
and
The
so forth.
organization
So
formerly
it's
known as the
available.
Chamber.
The information is available. And so forth
Yeah, and
like
so
that.
they let us put our materials there because that's a place that's always open during the business hours. And so if folks are interested in picking up a hard copy of our programs in January, you can stop in
Now
and get
I'm
them.
seeing also that you have, you're expanding outside the Rutland area, outside the Rutland perimeter and so forth. You're spurring other people. Like, for example, you're in Canada. What is that about?
Yeah, so actually, when we were founded, one of our founders is in Canada. So Come Alive Outside has actually always had a presence in Canada. But we are expanding our programs and duplicating them all around the country. We have program in 5 different counties in Vermont. We have program in Worcester, Massachusetts. We have program in West Virginia and Ontario, Canada.
Is that what's considered, what you mentioned, we talk about a mobile Come Alive Outside? Is that, what do? You give them?
So our Mile a Day program is actually, you can choose to do it with a paper logbook, or you can do it through a mobile app. And we actually have people from all 50 states who do our Come Alive Outside Mile a Day program.
And then report, and they get gifts and so the same thing?
Yep, everything we do is incentivized. So in Come Alive Outside, you're likely to win a prize for having fun outdoors.
But instead of so all this costly, so you can use anybody who wants to send money, right?
Yeah. But we have a lot of sponsors, especially sponsors who are in the outdoor industry. Beyond, our amazing sponsors here that are locally, we have sponsors like All Trails and Hydro Flask and LL Bean who help support.
Then you talked about, just for the kids and stuff, you're planting and understanding nature and food. What is all that about?
Planting and understanding nature.
Nature and food development, food growth or something. I saw that in it.
So about growing things that you can eat.
Okay, growing things you can eat.
So
Is
it's
that a
all
program?
connected. Well, what that is, it's more of a principle of Come Alive Outside. So if you look at Come Alive Outside, kind of in this big holistic view, we're trying to get people to unplug. We're trying to get them to connect with nature.
Get off devices.
Yeah, learn how to plant things. Learn how nature works. Try to eat something that you've actually made in your garden, because it's all connected, right? And being connected
Stay
to the
away
outdoors.
from the mushrooms.
Yep.
You like eating too? Oh, yeah, right. Okay. And you don't have any devices. You don't carry a device. You tell everybody to go to the woods where you take on this event, don't bring any devices, don't bring your phones. It's hard to do.
Well, and sometimes technology can be used to enhance experiences.
How?
So I would think about our Mile a Day app. You hit the start button and then you go and walk. So overall, you're probably decreasing your screen time overall, but you are using technology in a good way.
And then they report to you.
Yeah, and the data's collected. They don't have to report to us. We just get it because they're using a mobile application. And we're actually building a mobile application for the Passport program right now. And that will be really neat because that means that we can update it if a new event comes to town and we didn't know about it. With the paper version, we could update it and say, hey, tomorrow this great thing is happening. And just similar to like the data collection with Mile a Day app, we can get all of that really useful data to see how our programs are working so that we can get more funding and have more and more programs, more and more fun things to do outside.
You're measuring it and it works. What you don't measure doesn't work. That's
Exactly.
terrific. That's terrific. All right. We covered a lot of things. Do you feel, I want to make sure that you get everything you wanted to say here, because I think this is an extraordinary organization because it's transformative. This whole show is about transformative. Vermont has to be transforming all its ideas. So any conclusions, not a conclusion, but anything we haven't said that you want to say?
Yeah, I think just the invitation for everyone to participate in our programs. You might not think of yourself as outdoorsy, or you might not think that you belong out there, but you do. Everyone can have a place in nature, whether it is looking at birds through your window or even writing nature poetry. It's not all about climbing mountains and doing these really, really intense physical things. We want people to find whatever their special connection to nature is, and everyone can have that. And that's, I think, the big message that I want to get across today is, for folks that are out there looking at this, contact us. We'll help you find your joy in nature.
I contact you by your email or your phone number?
Email, we'll put that up there.
Yeah, we'll put it up.
And then, phone number, We don't actually have like a hotline for Come Alive Outside that is coming, but I think email's the best way.
When you were talking about that nature thing, the Japanese have what they call forest bathing.
Yeah.
And there's no exertion, it just kind of communicates. But it's interesting how you look at it, you might laugh at that holistically, but it isn't. It has a lot of tangible benefits.
Yeah, and there's so many studies done on forest bathing and the health benefits of it. There's a lot of practices. He does forest bathing quite often. It's really just mindfulness in nature.
I noticed that, yeah.
Bigfoot, are we
Sounds
leaving
good.
anything
Look
out?
good. Do you have any other conclusions or anything you want to add? You always say?
He was just happy that you had him here today. He doesn't get a lot of screen time or time in
But you're going to have the whole town when they start chasing you around, running around. That's a funny idea.
well, maybe you could come join us.
The idea of putting footpaths around in the street, you can always take it all painted like that. That's interesting. I will join that. That's interesting.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay, so you have nothing to conclude? That's all you want to get across? The idea? Okay. That's it. I recommend you join this organization. It's a truly transformative organization. And if you're looking to better your health, better your mental health, better your physical health, this is an organization where not only can you do that, but you join community. And the idea that you're relating to an organization that's transformative. We all have to be transformed. All our decisions have to be transformative in order to enrich the way we live, the way we work, and the way we play in our state. That's my close. I'm Lou Scott, and this is the Geppetto Room, where you don't have to be creative, you just be creative. Until next time, see you. Thank you.